Hello and welcome to News at 6 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us begin with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi begins visit to Germany in the second leg of Europe tour. He will attend the Hanover Fair where India is the partner nation this year. Search operation continues in Sukma to retrieve bodies of 7 Jawans killed in Maoist attack on Saturday. Centre assures all help to Raman Singh government to tackle the situation. Hillary Clinton all set to enter the US presidential race today with a low-key start to her campaign. And Sania Mirza aims world #1 seeding in doubles after entering the final of Family Circle Cup. Well, our top story in the second leg of his three-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Germany's Hanover today. In an effort to boost Make in India campaign, he will meet German business leaders during his tour. Modi will also visit the Hanover Fair, where India is the partner country this year. About 400 Indian companies are participating in the fair. He will also hold talks with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel during the visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Hanover in Germany on Sunday on the second leg of his three-nation tour to boost his Make in India campaign. He is set to hold an informal dialogue with Chancellor Angela Merkel during a walk through the Hanover Messe International Fair. India is the partner nation at the fair, in which around 400 Indian companies are participating this year. This will be the largest participation so far by Indian companies at the Hanover Fair. The two leaders will inaugurate the Indian Pavilion and will walk together as they discuss the potential for German manufacturers to make in India.
India will be the exclusive partner country of the Hanover Messe, and with that India will be high up on the world stage. I think it is a unique opportunity to present Make in India and to present India's technological prowess.
Modi and Merkel are expected to address a joint conference after holding talks in Berlin on Tuesday. Modi also held roundtable talks with top German chief executive officers and interacted with around 800 business leaders during the Indo-German Business Summit. He is also scheduled to visit a railway station in Berlin amid his government's agenda of modernizing railways. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ended his first leg of Europe tour by wrapping up his visit to France. Now, progress in talks on Rafale jet steel and backing for Prime Minister's pet project Make in India were some of the key highlights of the three-day visit. Now, during his address to the Indian diaspora, Modi also made a strong pitch for a seat in the United Nations Security Council, calling it India's right.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrapped up his three-day France visit on Sunday after a meeting with French President François Hollande. During his tour, India ordered 36 ready-to-fly Rafale fighter jets. The two nations also decided to move ahead with the log-jam Jaitapur nuclear project. With Make in India being the theme, the two sides signed about 20 pacts covering areas like civil nuclear energy, urban development, railways and space. France also pledged €2 billion for sustainable development in India as the Prime Minister invited investments and technology. Aircraft manufacturer Airbus has also agreed to invest €2 billion over the next 5 years to enhance outsourcing to India.
The visit was extremely successful. It met all the key goals that were targeted, and we hope this will enhance our ties with France and take them to the next level.
However, the Rafale deal to buy 126 fighter jets has not been fully finalized yet. The nitty-gritty of the Rafale jets deal is yet to be worked on. French President François Hollande said that the Defence Minister of France would travel to India soon to finalize the deal.
Now that there is an agreement in principle, please give some time for the nitty-gritty to be worked out, and I assure you, once this is worked out by the technical people, these will be certainly made public.
During Modi's visit, 26/11 attack mastermind Lakhvi's release from jail drew sharp criticism from the French government itself. It decided to set up a joint working group on counter-terrorism with India.
What has been agreed to is that as a first step, a joint working group on counter-terrorism will meet forthwith, and they will try and work out what would be the modalities of greater cooperation in this respect. It is certainly a priority area both for France and for India to enhance our ties in this area.
Modi also addressed the Indian community in Paris on Saturday night. Speaking in front of huge gathering, Modi underlined India's rightful place at the United Nations Security Council.
शांति के लिए जीने मरने वाला ये देश यूनाइटेड नेशन में सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में सीट पाने के लिए तरस रहा है कि आज जब प्रथम विश्व युद्ध की शताब्दी में गुजर रहा है, तब ये अवसर है शांति दूतों के सम्मान का। ये अवसर है गांधी और बुद्ध की भूमि को उसका हक देने का।
Modi also became the first Indian Prime Minister to pay tribute to the thousands of Indian soldiers who laid down their lives during the First World War at a memorial in Neuve-Chapelle. He was also accorded the Guard of Honor, following which he laid wreath at the memorial. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, back home, senior ministers of the NDA met at Home Minister Rajnath Singh's residence to take stock of the situation after the Naxal attack in Sukma on Saturday. The centre has assured all help to the Chhattisgarh government to deal with the situation. Meanwhile, nearly 2 hours after the massacre that left 7 Jawans dead, the bodies of the martyrs have not been retrieved yet due to hostile terrain there.
A day after 7 Jawans lost their lives in a Naxal ambush in Sukma, the top ministers of the NDA held discussions on the Naxal menace in the state. They agreed to provide all necessary assistance to the Chhattisgarh government to deal with the situation. The state government has launched a search operation to retrieve the bodies of those killed. Chief Minister Raman Singh assured that the government and the forces will not be deterred by the attack.
पहली बार इतनी बड़ी घटना हुई है कि एसटीएफ के जवान इतनी बड़ी संख्या में शहीद हुए, तो निश्चित रूप से बहुत टफ इलाका है, बहुत ही उनका इलाका है जिस इलाके में जाना दुस्साहस का काम होता है। वही काम एसटीएफ के जवान करते रहे, हमेशा चुनौती देते रहे।
However, opposition parties blame the Raman Singh government for failing to tackle the Maoist menace in the state.
Incidents देखते of Maoist attacks, उनमें बहुत तब्दीली करने की कोशिश हमारी सरकार ने किया था और उसमें कुछ हमें सफलताएं भी मिली थी, परंतु हम सबको साथ मिलकर इस समस्या को समाप्त करने की आवश्यकता है।
Although this is the duty of the state government, Chhattisgarh government, to provide necessary information, inputs and guidance to these armed forces, but they have always failed.
Meanwhile, bad weather and hostile terrain continues to hamper the evacuation process in Sukma. Bodies of the Jawans killed in the attack remain at the site nearly 24 hours after the incident. The injured personnel are undergoing treatment at Raipur and Jagdalpur.
अभी तक जवानों के शव वापस नहीं लाए जा सके हैं। मैंने वहां कुछ वरिष्ठ अधिकारियों से संपर्क भी किया। खराब मौसम की वजह से ये कार्रवाई नहीं हो पा रही है।
7 Special Task Force personnel were killed and 11 others injured on Saturday when a group of about 300 Naxals ambushed them in the forests of Sukma district. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in other news, in a move to tackle stiff market competition, the State Bank of India has announced a cut in home loans. Now, for new borrowers, the interest rate on home loans has been reduced up to 0.25% to 9.9%. A base rate of 9.85% has been aligned for women borrowers. With this reduction, the EMIs are set to go down further. The revised rates will come into effect from Monday. Earlier, HDFC had also announced reduced interest rates last week. Now, more news from across the nation in Nationwide. 1 person was killed and 3 others were injured in a grenade blast in Udalgiri district in Assam on Sunday. The grenade exploded near a market in Rota area. The injured people have been admitted to a local hospital. Senior police officials were rushed to the spot who have initiated the investigation. The power tariff in Delhi may see a steep rise of up to 20% if Delhi Electricity Regulatory Commission accepts a demand of the 3 private distribution companies. Currently, the DERC is in the process of reviving the power tariff for 2015-16. Sources say that the three private power distribution companies have sought up to 20% hike in the tariff to meet the rising cost of power procurement. Shiv Sena held a protest in Delhi against the release of 26/11 attack mastermind Zakir Rahman Lakhvi from Pakistan jail. Lakhvi was released last week after a Pakistani court termed his detention as illegal. The release provoked a sharp rebuke from India, with the centre lodging a strong protest with Pakistan. Now, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed has assured to take all stakeholders on board amid protests over centre's proposal to provide settlements to displaced Kashmiri Pandits. Now, Mufti said that his government is committed to bring back the displaced Pandits, but he ruled out separate clusters for them.
The valley remains tense with protest over the issue of resettlement of Kashmiri Pandits. As the state government considers setting up separate settlements for the Kashmiri Pandits, Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed called on opposition parties to work towards inclusive growth. Mufti said that the state is the biggest challenge that India faces.
मैं बड़े कनवास पे काम करूंगा, मैं हर एक को साथ लेने की कोशिश करूंगा. It is the determination and will of the people which will count. और इस जम्मू कश्मीर को इस गैर यकीनियत के फिजा से निकाल के इज्जत और आबरू का मकाम बनाना है.
But alliance partners PDP and BJP have themselves been speaking in different voices. Home Minister Rajnath Singh made it clear that the centre was going ahead with its plan to rehabilitate Kashmiri Pandits. However, Mufti said he will take all stockholders in confidence, but not at the cost of the respect and dignity of the Kashmiri Pandits.
We will take into account all the stakeholders. जो हमारे मेन स्ट्रीम के पार्टियां हैं, उनके अलावा भी हम लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करने की कोशिश करेंगे. अगर हम अपनी मिली जुली तहजीब को जिंदा रखना चाहते हैं, तो हमारी कोशिश ये होगी कि उनको वापस लाएं. वापस लाने के लिए एक माहौल शोर से नहीं मिलेगा, इसको हमने कनेक्ट करने की जरूरत है.
President of the Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, Sanjay Tikku, urged the state and central governments to constitute a select committee of Pandits living in the valley and task them with the resettlement. Many feel the situation is still not conducive for their return. Several people have already been injured on Friday in clashes between police and Yasin Malik's JKLF supporters who were protesting against the proposal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, in news at 6, we'll get a very short break. But up next, Barack Obama and Raul Castro hold the first high-level US-Cuba meeting in over 50 years. Details after a short break.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जाट आरक्षण के संबंध में आए हालिया फैसले से एक बार फिर ये बहस तेज हुई है कि आरक्षण किसे और क्यों मिले.
सुनने में बड़ा काव्यात्मक लगता है, गरीबी की कोई जात नहीं होती है, लेकिन जब नीचे जाते हैं तो गरीबी क्यों बढ़ती है, और जब ऊपर जाते हैं तो गरीबी घटती क्यों? तो कोई तो विलोम का संबंध है ना.
आरक्षण का मुद्दा सामाजिक सरोकार से ज्यादा जुड़ना चाहिए, न कि आर्थिक सरोकार से.
बहुत देर से जाटों को आरक्षण मिला. ये जब मंडल कमीशन लागू हुआ उसी समय मिल जाना चाहिए था. बहुत देर से मिला और बहुत जल्दी छीन लिया गया.
हमारे समाज में जातिगत आधार पर भयंकर विषमताएं हैं. हमारा वर्तमान ऐसा है. हम चाहते हैं एक ऐसा भविष्य जो जाति रहित हो.
मुझे लगता है कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर की एक बहुत मौलिक रचना है एनिहिलेशन ऑफ कास्ट, मेरे ख्याल से सारे पाठ्यक्रमों में अनिवार्य करना चाहिए.
देखिए सरोकार सिर्फ राज्यसभा टेलीविजन पर.
India's star shining in global affairs.
The professional army of any country does not have faith, piety and jihad in the name of God.
From regional power to assertive global leader.
Sri Lanka denies that these violations took place.
We want India to be a superpower. We have been doing everything for decades and we have been giving to India everything best we have.
Experts debate the nation's foreign policy.
We should not have any political preference of ours so far as Nepal is concerned.
Taliban were the creatures of Pakistan. Whatever people may say, they were created by Pakistan.
India's World with Bharat Bhushan on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back after the break. Let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, our former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is expected to kick off her 2016 presidential campaign today. The announcement will start with a video and social media push. Now, Clinton would be the first Democratic candidate to confirm a run for the White House. If she were to win in 2016, she would become the first female US president.
Former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is likely to have another go at the presidential race. After months of speculation, she is set to announce her candidature as a Democrat on Sunday. She is likely to make the announcement through a video message on social media, followed by small-scale events where she is likely to answer questions from ordinary voters.
Well, it is true. I am thinking about it. And I suppose it's only fair to say, don't you someday want to see a woman president of the United States of America?
Hillary had lost her first presidential bid to Barack Obama in 2008. This time Clinton enters as the favorite among Democrats, while also polling far ahead of any potential Republican rival so far. She also earned praise from Obama ahead of the announcement.
She was a formidable candidate in 2008. She was a great supporter of mine in the general election. She was an outstanding Secretary of State. She is my friend. I think she would be an excellent president. And I'm not on the ballot. So, I'm not going to step on her lines. When she makes a decision to announce, I'm confident that she will be very clear about her vision for the country moving forward if she announces.
Clinton has been hinting about a possible second run for the White House for months, laying the groundwork with multiple visits to states with early primaries and caucuses. With a formal announcement, Hillary Clinton would join the presidential race with two Republicans. Numerous polls have shown Clinton holding an edge over nearly all the Republican hopefuls. She also trounced most of her potential opponents in a Democratic primary. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And US President Barack Obama held a historic meeting with his Cuban counterpart Raul Castro in Panama on Saturday. The meeting marks the first formal talks between the two countries in more than 50 years. The two countries aim to end the Cold War enmity that had led to a total freeze of diplomatic ties. Now, Obama has said that the meeting will help both the nations turn the page after decades of hostility.
The Panama summit witnessed the historic meeting between US President Barack Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro. A one-to-one unscheduled meeting marked the thaw in diplomatic relations between the two nations. It was the first time the top leaders of the two countries sat down for substantive talks in more than 50 years. Obama called the meeting historic, while Castro said he would continue taking steps to normalize relations between the two former foes.
This is obviously a historic meeting. The history between the United States and Cuba is obviously complicated, and over the years a lot of mistrust has developed. But during the course of the last several months, there have been contacts between the U.S. and the Cuban government.
En otras ocasiones le hemos manifestado a algunos amigos norteamericanos que nosotros estamos dispuestos a discutirlo todo.
We have said on previous occasions to some American friends that we are willing to discuss every issue between the United States and
Sobre todas esas cuestiones y otras muchas.
We are willing to discuss about those issues that I have mentioned and about many others.
However, Cuba remains on the US list of countries that sponsor terror. Obama said that he hadn't yet decided whether to remove Cuba from the list, an outcome that had previously been expected during the summit.
The issue of the state sponsor of terrorism list, as you know, the State Department has provided a recommendation. It's gone through our interagency process. I'll be honest with you, I have been on the road, and I want to make sure that I have a chance to read it, study it, before we announce publicly what the policy outcome is going to be.
Obama announced in December that he was seeking to renew diplomatic relations with Cuba after half a century of strife, including eventually opening embassies in Washington and Havana. Though there were no major decisions during the talks, it is seen as US's highest level engagement with the Cuban government since then Vice President Richard Nixon met with Fidel Castro in 1959. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, there has been no respite from fighting in Yemen between the Houthi-led militants and the local militia there. Heavy Saudi-led airstrikes battered military camps in the Yemeni capital of Sana'a on Saturday. The strikes targeted military bases loyal to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh. According to the defense spokesman, the Saudi-led coalition has conducted 1,200 sorties since the beginning of the strikes on Yemen. More clashes were also reported in Mualla, Burika and Dardad districts of Aden on Saturday. According to the United Nations, the conflict has killed 600 people, wounded 2,200 and also displaced 1 lakh others since September last year.
نحن نعلم ولدينا من الأدلة الشيء الكافي أن من يدرب ويمول ويدعم هذه الميليشيات هي الحكومة الإيرانية والميليشيات التابعة لها مثل حزب الله، ولذلك تواجدهم بين المقاتلين التابعين للميليشيات الحوثية أمر غير مستبعد.
Now some more international news and updates in Global Buzz. Bangladesh hanged top Jamaat-e Islamic leader Muhammad Kumaru Zaman for committing war crimes and mass killing during Bangladesh's 1971 War of Independence. Kumaru Zaman was hanged at Dhaka Central Jail late last night after the Supreme Court rejected his appeal against a death sentence. The security has been stepped in Dhaka over fears of backlash from his supporters. The U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. was locked down for nearly 2 hours after a gunman shot himself outside the building. Police took the security measure right after the shots were heard near the seat of the U.S. Congress. Police is also investigating a suspicious package believed to be the gunman's suitcase on the lower west terrace of the Capitol building. Pope Francis has described the mass killing of Armenians under Ottoman rule during World War I as genocide. Now, conducting a holy mass at the Vatican marking the 100th anniversary of the massacre, the Pope called it the first genocide of the 20th century. However, the Pope's statement is expected to anger the Turkey, which has consistently denied that the killings were genocide. Now let's take a look at all the sporting action in Sports Beat. Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis survived a tough test to reach the final of the Family Circle Cup tennis tournament. They defeated Ala Kudryavtseva and Anastasia Tevchenko 6-4, 1-6, 10-7 in the rain-affected semi-final. The duo will meet Casey Delacroix and Darija Jurak in the final. If they win the title, Sania will be the new world #1 tennis player in the women's doubles category. Commonwealth Games gold medalist shooter Jeetu Rai won bronze at the ISSF World Cup in Korea today. Jeetu Rai aggregated a total of 181.1 points to finish third. Aggregated a total of 181.1 points to finish third. Now this is Jeetu's 7th medal in the international events following a run that started last June. Former Australian captain and commentator Richie Benaud's family has declined a proposal for a state funeral to the legend. According to media reports, Benaud's widow telephoned Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott to decline the government's offer. Now Benaud will be remembered in a private funeral attended only by his immediate family. He died at the age of 84 on Thursday after battling skin cancer. Lewis Hamilton helped Mercedes reassert their authority over Ferrari in a dominant display at the Formula One Chinese Grand Prix today. Hamilton won the race ahead of his teammate Nico Rosberg. Now, Hamilton's second win in the 3 races allowed him to extend his lead at the top of the championship standings. He now has 68 points with Sebastian Vettel in second position with 55 points and also Rosberg at the third spot with 51 points. Well, that's all in this edition of News at 6. Thanks for watching. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.